Hello, young scientists. Welcome to an exciting journey into the heart of matter. Today, in our CBSE Class 9 Chemistry chapter, Structure of an Atom, we are diving deep into a pivotal moment, J.J. Thomson's discovery of the electron through his famous cathode ray tube experiment in 1897. We'll start with the basics, build up to detailed explanations, analyze its profound impact, and finally, explore its competitive depth and real-world connections. Get ready to unravel the secrets of the tiny particles that make up everything around us. Let's begin with the basics. Imagine trying to see something invisible. That's what scientists were up against before the electron was discovered. How do you find something you can't even see? Before Thomson, scientists observed mysterious cathode rays in special vacuum tubes. What are these? Simply put, cathode rays are streams of fast-moving particles that shoot out from the negative end, called the cathode, when a high electrical push, or voltage, is applied. They travel in straight lines, creating a faint glow. Thomson used a special glass setup called a cathode ray tube, or CRT, which was mostly empty of air, essentially a vacuum. Inside this tube, he had two metal plates, a negative one called the cathode, and a positive one called the anode. Thomson's simple yet brilliant experiment involved applying a high voltage across these plates. He saw a glow caused by these invisible cathode rays moving from the cathode. The key observation came when he placed charged plates near the path of these rays. The rays were always attracted to the positive plate and pushed away by the negative plate. This behavior was the clincher. It meant the cathode rays themselves must be made of negatively charged particles. Thomson initially called these corpuscles, but we know them today as electrons. His discovery was monumental, showing that atoms, previously thought to be indivisible, actually contained even smaller, fundamental particles. Time for some quick checks on your understanding. Question 1. What are cathode rays? Question 2. Which part of the cathode ray tube emits the cathode rays? And question 3. What kind of charge do electrons carry? Think about what we just discussed. Alright, let's move a step deeper into the medium level. Here, we'll explore the experiment in more detail, understanding how Thomson meticulously conducted his work and what exactly he observed. Sir J.J. Thomson, a brilliant British physicist, took on the challenge of understanding these mysterious cathode rays in 1897. He designed a very specific experimental setup, a modified cathode ray tube, to probe their nature. His tube was not just a simple vacuum tube, it was engineered to allow for precise observations. It had a sealed glass body, a very good vacuum inside, and the crucial cathode and anode electrodes connected to a high voltage source. Crucially, at one end, there was a fluorescent screen that would glow brightly whenever the invisible cathode rays struck it, making their path visible and allowing Thomson to track their movement. Thomson made several critical observations. First, he confirmed that cathode rays traveled in straight lines from the cathode. But the real breakthrough came when he introduced external electric and magnetic fields. He placed charged electric plates, one positive, one negative, near the path of the rays. He clearly saw the rays bend, always deflecting towards the positive plate and away from the negative one. Similarly, when he applied a magnetic field, the rays also deflected. These deflections were key to understanding the nature of these rays. They weren't just light, they were something with mass and charge. Based on these careful observations, Thomson drew some powerful conclusions about the cathode rays. He deduced that they must consist of negatively charged particles because they were attracted to positive charges and repelled by negative ones. He also realized these particles traveled at very high speeds. Most importantly, since these rays were emitted from the cathode material itself, regardless of what metal the cathode was made of, it implied that these particles were fundamental building blocks present in all atoms. This led to the definitive identification of the electron as a fundamental, subatomic particle, much, much smaller than any atom previously imagined. Now, let's test your grasp on the medium-level content. Question 1. What was the primary purpose of the fluorescent screen in Thomson's CRT? Question 2. How did Thomson deduce that cathode rays were negatively charged? Question 3. What does the term subatomic particle mean? Question 4. Why was the vacuum crucial in the cathode ray tube? And question 5. What was the initial name Thomson gave to electrons? Ready to dive deeper? In the hard level, we'll analyze the significance of Thomson's experiment, discuss the properties of electrons in more detail, and understand its profound impact on atomic theory. Before Thomson, Dalton's atomic theory, which stated that atoms were indivisible, reigned supreme. However, the existence of cathode rays hinted at something smaller within atoms. Thomson's genius lay in not just observing, but in quantifying. His refined CRT was designed to precisely measure the deflection of these rays. By carefully applying and balancing both electric and magnetic fields, he could control the path of the cathode rays, allowing him to determine a crucial value, the charge-to-mass ratio, or EM, of these mysterious particles. This quantitative approach was groundbreaking, moving beyond mere observation to precise measurement. Thomson's most significant finding was that the charge-to-mass ratio, EM, of the cathode ray particles was constant, regardless of the material used for the cathode or the type of gas present in the tube. This universal value, approximately 1.759 times 1011 coulombs per kilogram, was a strong indication that these particles were not just unique to certain elements but were fundamental constituents of all matter. The experiment established that electrons possessed a negative charge, clearly demonstrated by their deflection towards the positive plate. Their ability to move a tiny paddle wheel inside the tube confirmed their particle nature, possessing both mass and momentum. Furthermore, the very high EM ratio implied that these particles had an incredibly small mass, far less than that of the lightest known atom, hydrogen. The discovery of the electron was nothing short of revolutionary. It shattered Dalton's long-held belief in the atom as an indivisible, fundamental particle. For the first time, scientists had concrete evidence of a subatomic particle. This paradigm shift paved the way for new atomic models. Thomson himself proposed the plum pudding model, envisioning the atom as a sphere of uniformly distributed positive charge, with negatively charged electrons embedded within it, much like plums in a pudding. While this model was later superseded, it was the crucial first step towards our modern understanding of atomic structure. Now, let's tackle some harder questions. Question 1. How did Thomson's experiment challenge Dalton's atomic theory? Question 2. What specific quantity did Thomson measure for the electron? Question 3. Why was the universality of the EM ratio significant? Question 4. List 3 key properties of the electron established by Thomson's experiment. Question 5. Describe Thomson's plum pudding model of the atom. Question 6. What role did both electric and magnetic fields play in Thomson's experiment? And question 7. Why was a high vacuum essential for accurately determining the EM ratio? Welcome to the hardest level. Here, we'll delve into the intricate details, historical context, engineering principles, and the enduring legacy of Thomson's electron discovery. Get ready for a deep dive. The intellectual landscape before Thomson was dominated by Dalton's atomic theory, which, while revolutionary for its time, depicted atoms as indivisible, solid spheres. However, unexplained phenomena like the glow in discharge tubes, the nature of electricity, and early observations of radioactivity began to hint at a more complex, internal atomic structure. Thomson's experiments were not conducted in a vacuum, but rather within this rich scientific context, where the scientific community was actively seeking answers to what constituted matter at its most fundamental level, making his eventual discovery a culmination of years of inquiry and technological advancement in vacuum pump technology. Thomson's cathode ray tube was a marvel of experimental physics. The extremely high vacuum, reaching pressures as low as 0.01 Pascal, was critical to ensure that the electron beam, once emitted, would travel unimpeded by collisions with residual gas molecules. The high voltage applied between the cathode, which served as the electron source, and the anode, often with a small aperture, not only generated but also accelerated the electrons into a narrow, collimated beam. The ingenious part was the use of crossed electric and magnetic fields. By precisely balancing the electric force, E, with the magnetic force, Fb, such that the beam remained undeflected, Thomson could calculate the electron's velocity. Subsequent deflection in a purely magnetic field then allowed for the calculation of the EM ratio, a testament to quantitative experimental design. The constancy of the charge-to-mass ratio, EM, across different cathode materials and residual gases was the most profound outcome. This universality unequivocally demonstrated that electrons were not mere artifacts of specific elements but were fundamental, elementary particles present in all atoms. This finding necessitated a radical departure from the indivisible atom concept, suggesting that atoms had internal structure and could be broken down. Furthermore, the exceptionally high EM ratio, indicative of an extremely small mass for the electron, led to the realization that the bulk of an atom's mass must reside elsewhere, paving the way for Rutherford's later nuclear model. Thomson's work essentially provided the first tangible evidence that atoms were indeed composite structures. Beyond its scientific implications, Thomson's discovery laid the groundwork for significant technological advancements. The principles of the cathode ray tube, specifically the ability to generate, accelerate, and deflect electron beams, became the bedrock for technologies such as the oscilloscope, an indispensable tool for visualizing electrical signals, and, famously, the cathode ray tube televisions and computer monitors that dominated the electronics landscape for decades. Although largely replaced by flat-panel displays today, the underlying physics continues to be applied in advanced scientific instruments like electron microscopes and particle accelerators, which rely on precisely controlled electron beams. Moreover, Thomson's work spurred further research into subatomic particles, directly influencing Millikan's oil drop experiment, which determined the electron's charge and ultimately leading to the discovery of the proton and neutron, completing our initial understanding of atomic structure. Let's test your competitive knowledge with these advanced questions. Question 1. Explain the historical context and the prevailing atomic theory that Thomson's experiment challenged. Question 2. Detail the role of both the high vacuum and the anode's aperture in Thomson's CRT. Question 3. Describe the method Thomson used to calculate the electron's velocity before determining its EM ratio. Question 4. Why was the universality of the EM ratio considered such a groundbreaking aspect of Thomson's discovery? Question 5. How did Thomson's discovery influence the subsequent development of atomic models? Continuing with our challenging questions. Question 6. Beyond televisions and oscilloscopes, what other modern scientific instruments utilize the fundamental principles demonstrated in the cathode ray tube? Question 7. What crucial piece of information about the electron could Thomson not determine from his experiment, and which later experiment provided this? Question 8. If the EM ratio of a hypothetical particle was much smaller than that of an electron, what could you infer about its mass or charge? Question 9. Discuss the limitations of the plum pudding model that necessitated further experimental inquiry. And question 10. How did the concept of corpuscles evolve into electrons, and what does this name imply about their nature? And that brings us to the end of our incredible journey through the discovery of the electron. I hope you now have a comprehensive understanding of J.J. Thomson's groundbreaking cathode ray tube experiment and its immense impact on our understanding of the atom. Keep exploring, keep questioning, And remember that every big discovery starts with a tiny question. For more such engaging and in-depth educational content, visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for continuous learning. Until next time, happy learning.